All right, it is 9:30. It is time for the Friday Night Hangout. This is where we grab a brew, shoot the breeze, and interact with you live on the internet. Show before the summer break, so we'll do a quick round of introduction, and of course the usual thing as we get all settled in for tonight. We'll do the introductions here. Let's start all the way at Wallace, Nova Scotia. We've got Keith Elliott Stone, looking all rested. All the way to Cape Breton, we got Carrie with us tonight. Carrie's having a little bit of computer problems, so we'll say, hey, Carrie, we'll catch you next time, Carrie.
All right, see you guys in 2 weeks or so.
All right, we'll see you later, Carrie. All right, so we have to boot Carrie out here.
I'm on the way out.
And I got to be careful because it asks you if you want to block the user. I said, no, I don't want to block Carrie for future, but he's been crashing a lot, so. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the Valley here. We got Lee Hoogley's Beer and Booze Reviews. And you're not crashing tonight, so.
Well, in a different way.
Different way. And on location in Moncton, New Brunswick, we've got Todd Beer Dude with us tonight. Yeah. Todd's going to try to manage his mute here from all the talking behind the camera. And of course, I am in Halifax tonight, so we're going to have a pretty good show here tonight. We've got a fair list of topics here, and just to let everybody know how it works. Basically, this is an interactive show. You see the Twitter handle. You can send us a tweet. You can comment on YouTube, Google+, on votingchores.com. We'll check those intermittently. What was that, Todd? You put a little sheet there. I didn't see it. And, of course, yeah, obviously we'll devote some time to Atlantic Beer Festival, which is the reason why Todd is in Moncton tonight. We'll do that, but you can also get a hold with us. And the replay will start once the show is done. If you're watching live, you can scrub through like a PVR, or you can listen to the audio-only podcast, which is uploaded on the weekends here. So, gentlemen, let's start the way that we normally do, which is what we are drinking tonight. Keith, what are you drinking tonight, my friend?
I'm drinking the Garrison Brewing Obey hopped pale ale.
How you like it?
Pretty good. I just cracked it, and it's in one of the new Avoiding Shores glasses. I made about half a dozen of these today, and I'm going to make about another dozen more probably before the next hangout. So.
Ooh, look at that! Very nice, very nice. Collector's items.
I can't show you the back of this one. This is a special.
Oh, yeah, this is the fun. All right. Yeah, excellent. And Lee, he uploaded the review of the Obey, if I'm not mistaken there.
Yeah. Yep.
What are you drinking tonight, Lee?
I'm drinking Garrison's new India Pale Ale in the 6-packs.
All right, excellent, good choice. And one, how did you like the Obey quickly, and how you like the Indian Pale Ale?
I wouldn't recommend buying the Obey. It's kind of a waste of money, but it's okay, but it's a waste of money. The India Pale Ale, polar opposite. Buy it. It's really good. It's better than Propeller's India Pale Ale at this point. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
Good praise, yeah.
Now, I can't remember. Did I have the Obey last week? And I wasn't too crazy about it?
Yes, yes.
It doesn't taste that much different from anything else, really.
Well, yeah, I went down.
It's not bad, but.
Oh no, it's not bad at all. But I asked, I think it was Alex over at Garrison. I said, "Is this a blend?" He said, "Yeah, it's a blend."
Yeah,
so,
it's a tall ship in the hop yard, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Just is that what it is? Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have any hop flavor really. It's more just bitterness and.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of tall ships, so there you go.
It's not bad. Like it's not bad, but.
Oh no, it's not bad, but it's not. I don't find it very distinct.
Yeah, exactly. But as Lisa, I think the Indian Pale Ale will be worthwhile there. Todd, what are you drinking tonight in Moncton? Better not be a pump house.
Well, I have to admit I had beer to bring and I forgot at home. So Dad hooked me up.
Hooked you up?
No, just kidding.
More like set you up.
Yeah, we'll never speak of this again.
No, that's good stuff. Can't say. Well, you know what? I can't say anything when I go home and my folks, I forgot to bring up some beer too. But I got you.
New
Comes out with
Brunswick is Bud Light country.
no, well, not when there's some sales going on. It was James Reddy.
Mm.
That was coming out, so that was an adventure.
Must have been a sale, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I am drinking tonight. I'm sharing Lee's lead here. I got the Garrison Indian Pale Ale, their IPA, and yeah, I totally agree. I really like what they did. A little bit more different from I think their test batches, their IPA test batches that they did, and I guess somewhere in the middle, I guess. Yeah, definitely. I think this if I were to grab a 6-pack, I think I would definitely look out for this. This is what I get, the green label. What I would get for sure. For sure. All right, guys, let's start with the first topic here tonight, and which is a good one here. Going rogue. Random man in Dartmouth filling up potholes with gravel. Because we had a crappy winter, a lot of potholes. I guess something, depending where you're driving, but Todd's in Moncton, he's probably experiencing some potholes over there too. Some of them quite deep. So this guy had just had enough of it, so took his pickup truck and a shovel, a bunch of gravel, and just started to fill up the potholes in the middle of the road there. And they showed a picture there, the link that I put on the Voting Chores. But do you guys notice that overall this year the patching has been kind of so-so? Or the roads seem more rough shape.
There's a lot of frost this year, and the roads open like the big trucks. Yeah, I know the last time we were in Moncton, wow, just about took the wheel off the truck. Some pretty bad potholes up there. I mean, I don't blame the guy for filling them, but it's got to violate some liability or insurance issues or something.
Oh,
I don't blame the guy.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I seen potholes this bad after a winter though. Like,
yeah,
and we didn't even really have a really bad winter, but I mean,
A lot of frost though.
yeah, I bet, man, like going out in the roads now, it's all opened up. It's spring into summer or whatever, and it's like, holy crap, these holes weren't here like a few weeks ago. Like, it's that bad. Like,
I can't complain here. They're paving right now, right here actually, so I can't complain.
well, yeah, it just seems like the past week or so the crews are out in full force, and there was another section here tonight that I was driving on Route 3, heading towards Hubbard's and stuff, and yeah, they were just repaving the whole thing. So they're doing it some places. Todd, you're in Moncton. How are the pothole conditions in Moncton?
It's not too bad, but the highway, the Trans-Canada from Sackville to Amherst to Moncton's terrible. Especially that part around
Squiduk and
Squiduk, Memram Cook, especially around Memram Cook, where you go around that big turn, you go down. It's just awful. They got bump signs out. They can find them. Why don't they fix them?
Yeah, exactly. They can take the time to put the sign. Why don't they just fill it up, right? Call the guy with the truck with gravel.
I think what it is Quebec's expanding its borders now, so they're leaving the roads really bad so people won't get into Quebec. That was pretty much my impression when we were driving up there.
That's New Brunswick's strategy. Keep everybody in by breaking down their cars. I thought that was funny. All right, so let's do a quick check on comments here. Hopefully we get a few comments in. Might be a slow night. Hey, I don't know about you guys, but the sun came out here in Halifax today, and all of a sudden people were thinking summertime. They were thinking barbecue. They were thinking a whole bunch of stuff, a whole bunch of plans. So I don't know if it was the same thing you guys' hood.
Somewhat.
It was definitely nice here. All right, we'll give a check here on YouTube. We got Todd checking out YouTube. We got Lee checking out votingchores.com. Lee, any comments on the votingchores.com?
Yeah, just one from Mike Bluefin. He says, "Hey gang, sorry, but I will not be able to attend tonight's hangout. I am going camping with my buddy where we will enjoy a few beer in front of the fire. I'll pick up some Quiddy Viddy Continental Pilsner. See you all in 2 weeks. Take care, Bluefin."
All right, thanks, Mike. But really, he could be watching on his mobile phone by the campfire. I'm sure they got reception where he's at.
What kind of dedicated fan is he if he doesn't do that?
No, it's good stuff. Hey, and then also he showed the picture of his pumpkin ale that he kegged last week. That was looking pretty nice. So it was quitty vitty glass. So it's good stuff. Todd, what have we got on the YouTube page there? Any comments so far? Oh, unmute.
That's not professional. I'm almost there. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we got a couple here. We got one from Roger. Good evening, everyone. Apple blossom time in the valley, so we're out by the fire, waiting for the fireworks to start.
All right.
Drinking Randy's Planters Pale Ale.
Oh.
Went for his apple blossom ale, but they had sold out 5 minutes earlier. That's what I was going to drink tonight. That's sitting home in my fridge. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Slow Rover says, "Hey guys, thank God it's Friday. Enjoying enjoying a delicious My Bitter Wife IPA from Great Lakes Brewery."
Yeah, from Great Lakes. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds like a good one.
It's not bad.
And then he says, "Todd, what did you ever do to your dad to make him so mad?"
Good stuff. All right. Well, thanks to the crew for commenting for the first go. So hopefully we'll get a few more people coming in here. But hey, you know what? It is getting close to summer. Memorial Day usually in the States is a sign of summer, and with that, tourists coming up, traveling, and they couldn't take the ferry to the Blue Nose, not the Blue Nose. One thing that they do is come and visit the Blue Nose in Lunenburg, and lo and behold, Blue Nose 2, the restoration project, is still a mess. This week was hilarious. Didn't get any certificates. People who don't understand how the shipping thing works think it was a bunch of Americans preventing the Blue Nose from hitting the water, but whatever. So anyway, Google some stuff there. But anyway, guys, $18 million to rebuild this ship. I don't think they should call it a restoration, but you know.
They should have built a new one. They could have built a new one cheaper. It would have been exactly the same. But so what?
Yeah.
It would have stayed in the art ship. It would have been our ambassador. And it would be this, white elephant. This is horrible. Yeah. Nobody's going to be accountable for it, as per usual.
It's the same as our infrastructure, isn't it? They pump a bunch of money in it to do patchwork, and they never finish the job, and they never totally restore anything, and the money disappears into someone's pockets, someone's buddy's political connections pockets. And
yeah. I mean, I'm not against us spending the money on having an ambassador. I think it's a great thing.
Oh, no, I think it's
but
great.
This is just a total, wow. Unbelievable.
Well, the biggest thing is, I was listening to the shipbuilder or the captain or something on the radio, just tearing the strip off of whoever's running it right now, and pointing out all the issues that they're going to have, and this and that, and you got to think that, if they wanted to restore, they would stick to wood. They would stick to the original materials, and so that they would, I'm sure the insides it would be all up to date and stuff. But
well, apparently, if they had built a new one, they couldn't have built it to exactly the same plans as the original Blue Nose 2, because under the new transportation laws, they would have to put in a bigger galley, bigger washroom facilities, fire suppression facilities, and all that.
Right.
But still, to me, it's like, well, if it isn't exactly the same, oh well.
Yeah.
It would just be terrible if what the shipbuilder was saying, or I can't remember if the shipbuilder or captain was saying that it's too heavy, there's not enough ballast, so the thing tips over while they're taking it out to sea and stuff, along with the heavy rudder that takes two people to steer the ship. I think this is going to be hilarious. I don't know.
That's a shame, though. That was a nice boat. That one time.
But you knew something was up when they had all these tarps covering it. You couldn't see on the webcams what was going on. You kind of wondered, well,
nothing to see here.
What was this restoration? They had set up webcams, but you couldn't see nothing because everything was all tarped up. didn't know what was going on. So, but I know people like to blame the Liberals for this, but the NDP had this file a long time.
Yeah, just blame politicians in general because none of them give a shit.
No, but it's easy to lay the blame for that. But it's just one of these projects, just like the ferry.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the ferry, that they make the decision and try.
Wasn't that already laid up for a couple days?
Yep. Yeah, just let that be our new slogan for tourism this year. Come to Nova Scotia, where none of our ships run.
And aren't they cutting back on the sailings between Newfoundland and Nova Scotia?
Yes, I heard that on the radio today.
Yes, it's a great concern for a lot of people I work with.
Yeah, that's a really big deal.
Yeah, they're only doing 2 runs or something, and because they're changing all the schedules. I don't know. It's just.
I'm going to have to read up more on that, but
not good for transportation and bringing goods into the province.
Or getting goods to Newfoundland too.
Yeah, well, that's the big thing, right? Because there's no priority for freight. It's just if you show up and it's full, too bad.
Something's going to have to give there, I think, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Build a tunnel.
Well, I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but apparently the province gave the ferry company, the Yarmouth ferry, another $5 million today because Maine didn't keep up their side of the bargain. I don't know if you remember. Maine says if there's a ferry, we're going to put up some cash, whatever. So they haven't. So now Nova Scotia is giving them some cash. So of the $21 million over 7 years, they've given out $18 million to the ferry so far in 2 weeks in operation.
Wow.
That's perverse.
Woo.
Yeah, that's beyond.
What the hell is with this province? Just throwing money around recklessly, like on everything. It's friggin' ridiculous.
The province has always done that, but times haven't been as tough as this in a long time either.
Yeah. And
I was reading there was an article in CFIB about waste in Halifax. They've wasted $400 per person for the last 10 years, so $4,000 per person. So I was just doing a rough thing in my head there. That's like $150 million they've wasted in 10 years. On what? Besides the library and the convention center and the Oval and the Pan Am Games and Olympics and whatever they're bidding on. Like somebody's got to be held accountable. Maybe somebody should be going to jail.
A lot of bids and a lot of feasibility studies and consulting reports that
those
nothing.
Pan Am Games are just a lot of assholes flying around.
You can say that about a lot of things. That's just use that in a lot of cases.
They had that big, they say, conferences are important, so they had that big Canadian Conference of Municipalities or whatever.
Yeah.
Had that great big party down at Pier 21, lobster for everybody.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, somebody...
Party, drink, and for what? Oh, we make contacts, important contacts. For what? How does that fill a pothole?
I'm going to
suck with my tears.
Yeah. All right, let's move on here to the next story, which is skin cancer rates are high in the Maritimes, highest in Nova Scotia and PI, I believe. The melanoma of it, and it's so funny. I hear people saying that it must be the Scottish heritage in Nova Scotia, meaning that it's all a bunch of white people, but you don't necessarily need to be only white to get skin cancer. However,
no, that's just it. I mean,
no, but the thing is, and we experienced it before, man. We had like almost 6 months of dreary winter and what you call a spring, and not a spring, but spring weather. The sun comes out today, and people around in their t-shirts and they're tanning like no wonder.
Well, that's just it. I think you're right. People don't bother the first little while, like, I'm going to get that base tan, which there's no such thing is, or it's they're reveling in the heat so much they just ignore it. I mean, everybody's guilty of it to a degree. But it's not like Australia where skin cancer rates are high. You know, it's the sun blazes there all the time and the ozone's really thin. But here, I don't know. It's probably a combination of lifestyle and just, you know,
Yeah.
a
I
little
think
bit
when
of
we trip out of our
laziness
shanties, when the sun comes out over the bags of salt and garbage and dog shit and everything else that's in front of our house, sunscreen's pretty far down the list. You try to find it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All these empty beer bottles you got to dig through. It's in here somewhere.
Oh, damn, the cap was off since last summer. Can't use
Yeah.
this.
Does this smell right to you?
Oh, it's Friday night hangout, kids. This is where we grab a brew, shoot the breeze, and interact with you. We're going to check the comments here momentarily. I guess since Mike is not watching the show tonight, Lee is off for the rest of the show there for checking comments. Really,
What are you trying to say?
I'm saying that Mike is very dedicated, leaving comments for Lee on avoidingchores.com. To keep him company there. We'll give a chance for Todd to reload the page. Just a reminder, we are going to do our summer schedule starting, after tonight. So we're going to do 2 shows a month. We're going to try to schedule them, check on Google+. I'll schedule them in advance so that we all know what the dates are. But we'll try to do it every 2 weeks or so. So we're going to definitely do one before we do our big trip to Katahdin. Me, Keith, Todd, and Jocelyn. We're going to do our big trip, so we're going to do what we kind of did last year. I don't know exactly how we're going to do it, but we're going to do it. And all that stuff. Todd, are you at the YouTube page and got anything? Mike.
You did again, Todd. Come on now.
Come on. Man, how do I
We need
this?
we need a director in Moncton for Mike.
There we go. Okay, all right. Start over, Todd.
We need a mic director for you.
Yeah, that's it. There's just one, actually. It's from Slow Rover. He says, Todd, if you promise to be angry all the time, I'll vote for you. Well, it's not much of a stretch. I'm angry most of the time. I'm even angry in my sleep, so.
All right, let's do the next story here, and this one here. Now, I'll be honest here. I haven't necessarily read the update, but this is a story that came up a couple years ago, and I was just resurfacing it. I don't know if it's one of these stories that just resurfaced, but basically, Cornwallis Park in Halifax. They're complaining about the name. Public meeting set for Wednesday will be focusing on the physical rejuvenation and programming of Cornwallis Park, and not the name. But there were some people that weren't happy about the name last year, and they wanted to, try to change the name and what have you there. Just want to bring up more of the thing about Cornwallis.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of misinformation out there. People are angry about it. They want to rewrite history, and it's it's he came in and he did a job. He had to do a job, and he did it the way that you would have done it back then. Now we're trying to judge him on today's standards.
Yeah.
Now, I was on a tour, and the woman said, this is Cornwallis, and they said, he's evil. And I said, well, why do you say that? He says, he invented scalping. I'm pretty sure he didn't invent scalping.
Well, it's funny you mentioned scalping, because I was listening to a podcast called Backstory, and as 3 historians, they go through a number of topics. I really recommend it. Backstory.org, I think, is the website. Or if you look for search for podcasts, very interesting stuff. They had, I forget what was the topic there, but scalping was not, it was, there was a story here about, and I forget the chick's name, it was down in New Hampshire. Anyway, it was the story basically of this woman in the, pilgrim, and some warriors came in and killed half the family, and then kidnapped her and the kids and marched her up for a week up to their camp, and then one night she decided to wake up in her sleep and kill everybody, and then took her kids and that survived and come down the canoe and told her story. But the thing is, she had scalped a number of the warriors in their sleep. And the reason why she brought the scalps down is because back in the day, 1700s, whatever, in the colonial times, in the U.S., there was a fee for scalps, Indian scalps. Scalps, heads, fingers, hands, to prove that you killed and you got paid for it. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to. I'll put it in Google Plus, or I'll put it in the comments here, the actual podcast here. But you're right, Todd. I'll just say that you're right, Todd. Is like, different time, different, crazy stuff happened back then.
It's ridiculous political correctness taken to an absurd extreme.
It's true, because if you want to take umbrage, you can take umbrage with every name. You can take umbrage with Moncton. If you're a French Acadian, I live in Cumberland County. As somebody with Scottish roots, I could take offense to that. He took part in the massacre of Scottish people. So there's a lot of historic names. If you really want to, where do you start and where do you stop?
Yeah,
I'm not against, if they want to rename the park and do this and that. That's fine. It's something worth looking at. But this is a day and age where people want to get offended.
And Keith is breaking
up
everything. And
was Keith breaking up?
Am I breaking up
for you guys?
A little bit.
A little bit. I think we got the gist of it, Keith.
But
just to add to that,
people want to get offended by everything.
Well, I'm the same way. It's like, I don't want to rewrite history. I want to what happened and learn from that. And Cornwallis was, he was a bad dude. And again, a lot of people in that era, Champlain, all. You can go down the list.
Given a task, and the British kind of did stuff differently. They invented concentration camps in South Africa, but they had to go in and win an impossible war. They had to, keep the public kind of out of things. So they invented these things so that the forces could hold areas with a few troops. And right now I see to kind of like switch focus, we're looking at all these places with child labor issues in the world. Look at what we did to poor little kids back 200 years ago here. They worked in mines, they worked in the shittiest jobs that adults didn't want to do, and if they lived, they got to be an adult. So
well, and there's a good point, Todd. People turn their eyes away from current issues. You talk about child labor, there's slavery and all that. People just turn their eye because everybody wants their cheap whatever they can get.
Yeah.
But yet everybody wants to protest this, and like you've all said, this is history. Wasn't pretty.
Yeah. Bottom line. Well, what's changing the name going to do? What's it going to accomplish? How's it going to change anyone's minds? How's it going to somehow?
Somebody get offended or whatever they change the name to.
Yeah, well, you're offended? Boo-hoo. Who gives a shit if you're offended? Grow up.
Yeah. Offended.
Well, I guess the natives want everything with Cornwallis's name on it removed. So the park, the street, the bridges, the
school.
There's so many names we'd have to get rid of to keep everybody happy.
They don't want to erase. Well, what their I read their stand or whatever. They want to erase it from everything except history. They want him still to be in the history books, but they don't want his name on anything. They don't want any statues of him, because there's a big statue, of course, across from the train station.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you want to help your people? Get rid of those crooked tribal councils that are taking all your money and keeping you in poverty.
Yeah.
Start there.
You look at what the natives in this province did. They used to attack Portuguese fishing vessels that were just perfectly peaceful. They would anchor in coves for the night. They'd canoe out and kill everybody and light the boat on fire in the 1500s.
Oh no! Don't say that, Todd. That makes you racist all of a sudden.
I know, but it's true.
History.
Well, yeah,
and we can't change it.
Exactly. That's exactly the point. History, but it's these types of parks or statues and plaques that allows us to not forget that there's some nasty stuff that happened.
But you know what? If we weren't discussing this, how many people would know that Cornwallis was who he was?
Yeah, exactly.
If anything, it keeps the discussion open. I mean, if you just erase his name from history, you're actually sanitizing and censoring history.
There, you just said something, Lisa. There, we somewhat sanitize him. So then a couple hundred years, they're like, hey, that Cornwallis guy wasn't such a bad guy. Let's name a park after him.
All right, with that, it is halfway through the show, and you are listening to the Friday Night Hangout. This is where we grab a brew, shoot the breeze, and interact with you. We'll give Todd some space here because it is time for his Maritime Beer Report. He is on location in Moncton on site of the Atlantic Beer Festival. That's happening this weekend or just tomorrow, I'm not sure. And once Todd is ready to go here, we'll get going. But just a reminder that we are going into our summer schedule. Check on Google+. We'll have the schedule up there, so it's going to be around every 2 weeks or so. Todd, you ready to go for the Maritime Beer Report, my friend?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep. Can you see me?
Yes.
Yeah. Big news up from your neck of the woods, Jim. Le Brasseur de Petit Sol launched their beers this week.
Yes.
Not for the public, but they released what they are and their names and things. Blonde ale named Bob Le Boeuf.
Yep.
And a white named Tante Blanche. And it's quite a bit of news around that, but they wanted to create a beer that told a story, kind of similar to that Quebec beer. I was trying to think of the name of it before we went on air here.
For the Blanche de Chambly, or...
Yeah, remember it has all the characters. It's from outside of Montreal. Anyway, Bob Le Boeuf, you probably know these, Jim. Bob Le Boeuf was an eccentric, legendary prospector.
Yeah, like there's the hockey team. I think it's called les Foreurs or les Prospecteurs, which is I think based on that. But yeah, no, everything is based on the local folklore of back in the day, and you look on the label, the artwork that they use. That's the traditional artwork of some of the artists that was in the Edmundston area for the last maybe 30 years. So when you go to the Foire Boréal, you see a lot of that style, wood, chainsaw, or carving kind of things there. So, and there is, you're probably going to mention it there, but they're bringing back the stubbies. They decided to go for the stubbies, the 340 stubbies.
Wow.
Okay, unmute, Todd.
Sorry, I had a job crushing those all up in the sand. One of my summer jobs about 85 when they were going to the long necks.
Oh, really?
And that was my job. Yeah, that was fun. Go home and anyway. One of the artists there, the sculptor, he has the same last name as you, Lux here, from Bakerbrook.
Yeah, different clan.
Okay.
Different clan.
Okay. And they said the stubby kind of fit in with the nostalgia and the branding of their beer, so they brought it back. It's going to be available in MB liquor stores as well as the Boutique and single bottle, 6-packs, and growlers. And they're still hoping to be open next month.
Yeah, because they're aiming for August for sure, because that's where the Acadian Congress is this summer, first week of August. So they have to be out by then and at least have it tweaked, have the recipe tweaked and work the tweaks out. Because there's supposed to be 30,000, 40,000 people coming to that Congress, like all over the place.
Yeah. In August in Edmundston, they'll all be thirsty. You know it.
Mm-hmm.
So for the next story, we go a little further down the river to Big Axe, who has their Shakespeare chocolate oatmeal stout on tap. And the way to describe it is, it's a full and silky body stout, dark chocolate in color, aroma is rich with caramel malts, chocolate and a hint of vanilla, very low citrus, earthy, roasty, charred bitterness, herb hop character that make this stout complex and original. And it's also 6.5%, so a little high. A company I don't talk about very often, Keith's Brewery.
Yes.
I don't know if you read the news release this week.
I did.
But they're now offering growlers as of Sunday.
Hey,
Wow.
The one thing that everybody asks, man, I need a growler of Keats.
I didn't see
Yeah.
that galaxy hop in my growler, man. Oh, Jesus. Who are they kidding, man?
Labatt's corporate affair director Wade Keller said in his release, growlers are becoming more popular among consumers, so it makes sense that the most popular beer in Nova Scotia will be available in this kind of packaging.
No. You have
Too
to have a
little, too
good
late.
beer.
Come on, man.
You have to have a good beer first. That's why people are buying growlers, because there's good beer in them. You idiots.
Hey, Lee, they don't sell pee in growlers, do they?
Yeah. So the growlers are 10 and the refills are 10.
Oh, great deal there.
Yeah, overcharging for the growlers.
Yeah, well that's what the news release said. I found that might be wrong, but
No, that's right. I read a different source there.
Oh, what a
So
sack of-
20 bucks. Yeah, so $20 for your first 6-pack equivalent, and then $10 afterwards. Well, you know.
Oh, I'm mad now. What a pack of assholes. Really, that's...
there goes that sponsorship.
Yeah.
Meander River have been very busy since selling out on their opening day, and they
No
said
choice.
growlers ready. Next batch of lunchbox pale ales ready tomorrow.
Not much choice. Jeez.
Yep. Saturday and Sunday, 11 to 5.
Uh,
So hopefully they have more beer.
I don't know if I'll be doing the trek though.
Yep.
This time.
Propeller launched another one-off today. Smoke Ale.
Tell us more.
Yeah, it's a pale ale with 2 types of smoked malt, Warrior and Columbus for bittering and Willamette for flavor and aroma. Andrew describes it as a malt forward with light smoky flavor and aroma. Did you happen to get a growler of that, Jim?
No.
No.
Is it available only at Garfield or Dartmouth?
It's both places.
Oh, then I'll probably gonna try to get it at Dartmouth.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Rock Bottom says it's lager time. They have a Halley Lager. It's a lawn mowing beer, they're saying. 4.5%. Brewed with North American malts. Hallertau Herzbecker and a twist of Cascades in the finish to make the Continental Hybrid. So kind of jumping all over here. Go back up towards Falmouth, Schoolhouse Brewery, who were supposed to be live in April. Had a little bit of paperwork and things. They're pleased to announce that they're going to have their beer on tap at the Library Pub on June 6th and the Spitfire Pub on June 7th. Initial beers will be the Principal Ale, which is a dry hop pale ale, and Checkers Ale, which is a robust porter. I think the Library Pub is Wolfville, isn't it?
Yes, it's right across from the subway, I believe. On Main
Okay.
Street.
And Spitfire, of course, is in Windsor area. Uncle Leo's let a little information slip my way. They're working on a new beer, and they tell me they're leaning towards a German wheat. So it should be out in a few weeks.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting, yes.
And one more item, the Celtic Oktoberfest in Port Hawkesbury went live this week, I think. I've been talking to them for a couple months now, but they have a nice website up now. They've showcasing 10 microbreweries. Basically the creme de la creme of Nova Scotia: Big Spruce, Propeller, Uncle Leo's, Authentic Seacoast, Boxing Rock, Rock Bottom, Townhouse Pub, Garrison, Sea Level, and Hell Bay. There's also going to be 8 Cape Breton food establishment and Celtic music, and that's all on October 25th at the Port Hawkesbury Convention Center.
Yeah, nice. Nice.
Yeah. So that's it for today, Jim.
Now, Todd, you are in Moncton, and there has to be a special occasion for you to be in Moncton.
Oh.
You're here for...
I'm going to the Atlantic Beer Fest tomorrow.
Yes.
It's the oldest beer fest in the Maritimes. It's 1 year older than Seaport, I was told.
Moncton. Damn it.
Yeah. It's at the add-on part of the Moncton Coliseum. 170 beers, I think, from 60 breweries. Really, one's exciting. They got True de Diable, of course, from Quebec. They got 3 from Quebec that I want to try. Smutty Nose from New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a lobster ale from Maine. They've got from all over the Maritimes, and I think a couple from Ontario. Muskoka from Ontario is another one I want to try. So.
Yeah, no, there's some. I think you might have some nice selection there.
Yeah, so I'm actually going with the Moncton Beer League as a VIP, and they fixed us up nice. We're going to start down at the Pump House Brewery. We're going to try some of their new beers, including their new IPA, which I don't think has even been named yet. And we're going to have some food there, and then they're going to stick us in limos and take us up and give us our own private entrance. So, living large and in charge.
How come you're the only one that got VIP tickets?
Because I'm important. No, we had to pay an additional fee. VIP is probably a bit of a misnomer, but we had to pay a little bit additional, and the money's being donated for all the tickets to the single parent support here in Moncton.
Oh, okay.
So good cause.
All right, good stuff, Todd. Well, looking forward to your posts. You're going to be posting what's going on there on the Maritime Beer blog and your Google Plus. And
watch for live tweeting tomorrow, which may become coherent as the afternoon drags on.
Hopefully they'll be as epic as some of the other people that we follow sometimes when they get on at a beer fest here. Yeah. Okay, all right, let's move on to the last topic here. Well, it's not the last. The last local news topic here, which was kind of funny. I saw this today. A dental assistant is being scolded by the Dental Association by criticizing a license fee hike. So this is a great story. So this dental assistant, I guess they got to pay a fee every year to be part of the clique.
Yeah, most professionals do, I think.
So I guess the fee went up 130% this year, and I believe, if I read the story right, she wrote on the check, basically, this sucks. And she's being reprimanded by writing in the little memo section of the check her opinion of this fee hike.
It didn't even go public. It wasn't like she went on a big rant in front of a TV camera and.
Well, I guess once you start getting the letter from the association, I figure that would be like the retort. I think I'm gonna call, Yvonne Colbert from Live at 5 and get some.
That's a big pill for anybody to swallow. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
1 year. Wow.
Yeah, they should have just let it pass, because now it's going to come out in the news and it's like, okay, you guys are a bunch of dicks. Good PR, man. Good PR.
Well, the fee's going to pay for a new database and for something else that they're doing.
They could have spread it out over a few years and not,
I don't know. I'm not sure. But anyway, good for her for writing a memo.
Yeah.
Using the memo area of the check.
I want to know what country we live in now where you can't even express an opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm seeing online, or I'm seeing posts more and more of situations where you cannot give your opinion. So I'll give you the example. Out in Atlanta, the owner of the baseball team, the Braves, they had secret meetings to basically build a new baseball stadium in a new neighborhood, where basically the taxpayers are paying for the whole thing, like $350 million or something ridiculous. So at the public meeting to approve the plan, they had the pro stadium people line up first, and then they only allowed 12 people to speak against it, and anybody else who was speaking against it got hauled off in cuffs because being disobedient or uncivil in a public meeting or anything like that.
Yeah, what a load of shit.
Time for a revolution.
It's getting close, all these preppers with their machine guns and their cabins in the woods, like they sounded crazy, but man, they're not sounding too crazy.
Just because you're putting forward a heated argument against the position doesn't mean you're being uncivil.
Yeah.
Well, it's a little bit different too. They're taking their money. They're taking their money to
they
give
have no
it to.
choice. They have to pay it.
You know, yeah, they're giving their money to an organization that generates
billions, right? And so you know, we can bring it back to potholes. Is that going to fix their potholes around the stadium? Probably not.
No.
And is it going to generate? You know, the plan of the stadium, you know, was going to be all these businesses and microbreweries all around it and stuff, and that was just made up. There's nobody lined up to fill the businesses around it to support. You know, it's just going to be this big honking concrete stadium to play baseball in. You know.
Yeah, great. Woo-wee. We need more of those.
But you know, but you know, you kind of look at how Halifax is trying to get a stadium built. They're going to get a stadium built one way or the other, but I'm just trying to figure out if they're going to go this route where they're just going to try just to ram it through and just...
They should, Jim. Sure they should call it the Blue Nose 3.
I think they should build it right in the Cogswell interchange. That would be awesome. That would be sweet.
That would be sweet, actually. But
somebody built another oval around it.
Somebody mentioned on Twitter that they should build a new stadium at the old refinery that just closed. Esso refinery up in...
that would probably be a better spot than where they're saying up in Shannon Park.
Yeah, but I piped up and said the cleanup fees is just going to be astronomical because you had 30 years or however long the refinery was there.
Who's going to be on the hook for that?
Oh, yeah, who's going to pay for that?
Who will be?
Well, you know, the province is going to have to pay for anything because
it'll just be gated, and that'll be it. It'll just be gated forever.
Yeah, it's going to be like X-Files, some rusted refinery equipment.
Because my friend used to work at that refinery, and he said every so often there'd be these guys come in like in triple layer suits with air and all this, and they used to pull these barrels out from underneath. It was like super carcinogenic material. You want to know where they took it?
Probably in the back in the hole.
Probably buried it somewhere.
They took it to Tufts Cove and burnt it.
Oh, that sounds good.
The hydroelectric generating plant in the middle of Dartmouth.
Nothing to see here.
Yeah, nothing to see here. We're just burning carcinogens.
Hey, I parked my car here and it dissolved. Nothing to see here. Move along.
My paint all chipped.
Darn acid rain.
I only had 2 payments left on that thing.
All right, let's Todd will do a quick check on YouTube, but I'll mention the next topic, and then you can refresh the page here. We can talk about that. Now that we're done with the local news, I'll do a quick little tech news here. The big one that people have been talking about, or at least I heard, or I perked up. Monday is Apple Day. Apple's having their developer conference on Monday, yo. That means new iPads, new MacBooks, and new iWatches and all that stuff. Like, are you guys ready for the hype? You ready?
Thanks for telling me. I'll turn my Twitter off.
I'm waiting for the new I like to watch.
I'll be at work with my chalkboard and abacus.
Todd, what you got for comments? You have any new comments?
We just got one from Slow Rover there. Muskoka makes really nice beer, Todd. I know you enjoy them. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Good stuff, Neil. Out in Toronto area. Yeah, so I don't know about you guys, but, you know, brace yourselves for your Twitter feed and your Facebook feed around 4 or 5 o'clock on Monday to whatever Apple is going to be releasing.
Yeah.
Which is nothing because this is their software developer, so they're just going to be pumping stuff, hyping stuff that's actually going to come out in the fall.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see.
Well, the only thing that would be interesting to me right now is that, you know, is to see if they're actually going to announce something new, because they've been kind of holding firm, like not really doing anything for the last 2 years, well, since Jobs died. And people are talking about the iWatch and Apple TV and all this other stuff. So you gotta wonder, like, they're ready to do something new. Is basically a home automation, like.
I know what they're going to do. They're going to bring back Steve Jobs from the grave. They're going to have him as a cyborg.
Hologram Steve Jobs.
Yeah, hologram Steve Jobs. There you go. He'll be doing the presentation.
Oh, boy. You know what? It will pale in comparison to what Google is doing with their self-driving cars. And I don't know about you guys, but the self-driving car that they showed on the press this week looks...
That scared the shit out of me when I saw that.
It has a face. It actually has a face. We talk about cars having a face and the grill and all that stuff. But, man, they actually drew a freaking face on this Google car. It looks totally dumb, and I posted something on Facebook there. I don't know if I can't remember if I put it on Google Plus there, but
what
I want for a self-driving car is something that resembles Hit from Knight Rider. That's what I want in a self-driving car, not a Mr. Bean updated Mini Cooper.
Well, I want an Audi like an iRobot.
It has no brake and no steering wheel, which, I guess, whatever. But what I'd like to know is how smart is this thing going to be? I was going through a paving section the other day, and they were kind of, stopping people, and then they were waving them through, and I'm thinking, the car wouldn't know what the hell to do.
Hang on, son. Let me tell you, I was listening to an NPR podcast today, and they had Buddy from Google. This thing, okay, the Google Maps, the street maps, the 360 camera, whatever, that they're on like backpacks, that's in the car. It is mapping everything that's around it. It can tell a pedestrian, it can tell if it's a car, it can map everything that's around it, even if you don't see it, and it's making decision based on what it detects. So if somebody's coming up, if a bicyclist is coming up from behind and you don't see it, it already seen it. It already knows what's happening or what's going on and how it's going to react.
What happens if I'm disguised as a fire hydrant?
I think we way screw it up pretty bad. I don't know. I'm not putting my yet.
And but Soviet Russia car drives you.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jim. I want to see one with a little Cylon eye on the front and driving.
It'd be great if they went. Lee said there. It'd be great if they went to Russia to get some Ladas and some Yugos.
Yugos. Oh yeah, the what was it, like
Bring
a $4,000 car?
Yeah, put some tech in them, and don't cost them nothing to bring some Ladas and some Yugos over.
A few rubles and a block of cheese, something like that, and I'll get it over here.
Yeah. Wouldn't allow it.
They're even cheaper in Crimea right now.
Oh, I'm sure. Man, you know what? That's the story that's kind of lost. That's the story that lost a lot of steam is the Ukraine stuff.
There's still stuff going on there. They shot a chopper down a couple days ago.
Yeah,
12 people in it.
Once things started to get serious, people kind of like, you know what? We're not going to talk about it on the news anymore. We'll wait until.
News is very fickle. They're still worried about that friggin' plane.
Yeah, that's not important. This plane has disappeared to the Twilight Zone. We have to find it.
Yeah, over a month ago.
Yeah, William Shatner's on that plane looking at the gremlin, ripping the wings apart.
Good stuff. All right. So let's go over the last round. What we are drinking tonight, Keith? What are you drinking tonight?
That beer got worse and worse as I drank it.
It just becomes a bitter mess at the end.
It was good at first, but anyways, it was a bit nostalgic today. Not quite the same, but I picked up some of these.
Yes.
I'm sorry that came out. I'm sorry that came out, Keith. But you know what? I've been known to pick up a 6-pack of that once in a while.
Once in a while, it's like a palate. It resets the palate, I find.
Yes, cleanses it. Well, I don't want to say anything bad with Garrison because I like a lot of what Garrison does, but
I do too. But that one's not. Yeah.
No, that Obey.
I don't know why they bottled it. Why did they bottle it? The festival's over. Why bother bottling it?
Well, it was bottled for the festival. Like it was more gimmicky, I think, than anything. Just there's a few restaurants here in town that have their own beer from Garrison, and basically that's all it is a blend. Like Mother's has their own, and the pizza place there,
More seats. Yeah.
Yeah, they both have their own beers on.
Oh, I'm sure some people love it, but just not mine.
It's
Yeah.
it's gimmicky. It's
They should have made a different beer just for the fest. They did it for the Nocturne. Why not for this one?
Yeah, well, that was
Propeller.
Yeah.
Well, yes, okay.
But it's true. They could have gone a little extra step and made something a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of
Maybe
like,
next year they will. Now that they kind of like got some breathing room with the new brewery and.
Yes. For sure. All right, Lee, what are you drinking tonight?
I'm still on the Garrison India Pale Ale.
Yes, me too.
interesting. I'm interested to try that.
It's good.
You know what? Yeah, it's good. It's definitely worth a buy, and not only a buy. This is going to be your
Go-to IPA.
Yeah, if you're going to be.
You think it's better than the Propeller IPA, Lee?
It's definitely better than a Propeller.
To me, Propeller IPA kind of holds the standard, so.
Yeah, it gives that a run for the money for sure.
Very interesting. I want to try that.
I agree with Lee on that one.
Of course you do.
Of course, because you were first in the order. Todd, what are you drinking tonight? How's that Bud Light?
It's still pretty full.
And you won't be if you're drinking it at that rate.
Yeah.
And by the way, if I go missing, it's probably the June bugs.
They're
out?
They're bouncing against the screen, and I keep looking back. That's why I'm looking back. There
seems to be a whole bunch more every time I turn around. I'm getting a little afraid.
They're making up for lost time. They're very big.
It's like that Stephen King movie, The Mist, there, of the big bugs whopping into the grocery store window, yeah.
And I'm drinking what Lee's drinking because, I follow what Lee does.
Exactly.
Yeah, the Indian Pale Ale. It's good. It's a 6.5% beer for those who are curious. Now, Lee, is this Citra or Comet hops that you?
It's Citra. I think it's Citra, Columbus, and Amarillo or something. They said. If you go to if you're not familiar with people out there watching, if you're not familiar with the Canadian Beer News website, it's a really, really great website to go to because they usually have the breakdown on hops and stuff like that. That even like the official websites, like for Garrison and stuff, because they don't update their website all that much.
Mm-hmm.
So go to Canadian Beer News, and you'll usually find the breakdown of a lot of new beers.
Yeah, that's a great site.
Mm.
Indeed. GarrisonBrewing.com is where you're going to find some of that stuff. All right, just a reminder, everybody, we are going to start our summer schedule starting once we're done. So for the next 3 months, we'll be on every 2 weeks instead of every week. So just give a chance for people to enjoy the summer season. We had a nice long stretch of weekly episodes, so I want to really thank the panel for joining me week after week, and all the viewers and all the commenters, the regular commenters there. So that was really good to have everybody in there. Let's do a quick round table as to what we're working on, and then we can close thing off for another show. And just a reminder that the audio-only podcast will be uploaded this weekend, so you can listen to this via podcast. Keith, you got anything working or anything on the go next couple of weeks?
Yeah, I'm working on these suckers. I've got them in 2 different styles. These bottles, or these glasses, I should say. Like I said, I'll probably have a dozen by the next hangout.
Nice, and that has the Avoiding Chores bear on it, so that should be kind of cool. Put down in the comments if you guys are kind of interested in getting your hands on one of them, so we can gauge some interest here. You get 2 different glasses. Right there, perfect. It looks like it works. The glass works.
The glass works. If it doesn't work, it's probably my fault. Boom.
And these are handcrafted, hand-etched glasses that Keith has been working on.
By a Nova Scotia artisan.
Yeah. Artesian talent. Lee, what are you working on or plug-in?
Tomorrow I will actually have a review of the Garrison India Pale Ale uploaded, so that'll be tomorrow. And I still have a small backlog now of videos from a recent beer mail I had and some other stuff. So basically just some more reviews I actually thought they would be done before the summer started, but I'm actually bleeding into the summer now with some reviews, so that's good.
All right, no, it's good to have the backlog for sure. You can see Lee's stuff on youtube.com/lharlock. Check that out. Todd, you got anything to plug?
Nothing today, I don't think.
No?
I got a backlog of reviews I got to get up and travel videos and just. I need an assistant.
Yes, don't we all?
Yeah.
All right, I got nothing for me here other than I've been field testing the. I showed this last time, the DeLorme InReach Explorer. They're kind enough to send me. I believe I'm one of the first in Canada to get one of these, actually. So I've been trying that out and going into the woods and comparing that with other GPSs. So next week, DeLorme should have some updates on their website. So it's gonna allow me to do a bit more stuff. So I'll be focusing on that. And June uploads are pretty much all done. I just need to edit and upload. So June is pretty much in the can. There's going to be a nice video on Sunday. I'm going by request. It was a request that I do a tutorial on a specific topic, so you can check that on Sunday. All right, with that, I'd like to, we're at the hour mark, so we're going to close it off for another week. I'd like to thank the panel for joining me yet again for another Friday. And again, the last reminder, we're going to do this every 2 weeks over the summer, and then we'll get back and fall for the regular schedule. Thank you to the panel. Thank you to all the commenters. We'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Bye.